Well done for completing the first module. You've already come so far just by taking the first step. Because you know that most people who buy online courses, they never get started. So you're already one step closer to your goal. But we all know that at some point later on, things will get more difficult. It will get more challenging. I can promise you this already. So how can you keep this current level of motivation that you have and be able to carry it through to the difficult times? One of the things that I find really helpful is setting goals and having my goals around me, like displayed on the wall while I'm working or while I'm studying. So I've created this fantastic worksheet for you so that you can start thinking about why you're doing this. Why are you learning to code? Why are you learning this skill? What will you be able to achieve once you've mastered it? And what would your life look like once that happens? So head over to the next lesson, fill out the sheet with your answers, and then print it out and put it somewhere where you can see it. So that when things become difficult and when your motivation takes a nosedive, you can have a look at it and remind yourself of why you're doing it in the first place. So head over there now. Hey, well done for completing yet another module. This is really exciting. You're getting really into the course now. Now, I want to share with you one of my ways for building a good habit, because if we think about it, learning to code, it requires daily, almost constant effort, right? Ideally, if you could spend 100 days and you spend 1 hour a day learning to code or coding something of your own, then you're going to become so much better than if you just, did it one weekend and then forgot about it, right? So the difference between these two scenarios is if you're able to build a habit. And once we have a habit, you almost don't have to think about it anymore, right? Like you don't think about it in the morning like, oh, do I want to brush my teeth or not? I don't know. Is it one of those days where I brush or not? You don't think about that because it's a habit. You just wake up, you just do it. So how can you make coding or learning to code a habit? One of the things that really helps me is to mark a line in my calendar. And I think this is actually something that came from Jerry Seinfeld, like the comedian dude, where he said that every day he writes a new joke, he puts a line through, his calendar. And by continuing that line, at some point, you're not going to want to break the chain because it's like, man, I've done like a 10-day streak. How hard is it just to do one more day? And I don't know if it's because I'm kind of OCD, like I just like seeing things like completed. I sometimes like just write to-dos in my to-do list that I've already done, which I haven't written in my list, but just to be able to tick it off. Yeah, let me know if you can relate. But even if you can't, most people actually benefit from continuing a streak. And by about 30 days or 40 days, that thing that you had to constantly think about, like, oh, do I have time today to code? Do I want to do it? That kind of just becomes a habit. And you just know, oh, this is the time where I get sat down and I start coding. And it doesn't actually take that much motivation anymore. So try and give this a go and see if it helps you. But the most important thing is to just keep going. I keep saying it, but at the end of the day, if you show up, if you do the work, then you're going to get the results. So I'm here cheering for you. I'm sure other people are. I think you're doing great and you're going to do even better. Well done for completing the last module. It wasn't easy, but you got it done. Now, I want to take this opportunity to share with you some of the things that I've learned that I wish somebody had told me while I was learning programming and learning other things as well, in fact. And one of those things is the ability to get rid of distractions. Because let's face it, my phone probably has a million notifications. The other day, I almost fell down the stairs because a notification came on the Apple Watch and I was looking at it while I was going down the stairs and I actually missed a step. And these little moments of distraction, even though they seem like it's very quick to take a look at your phone, see what it's trying to tell you, and then get back to what you're doing, you won't believe how long it actually takes for you to get back into the same level of focus as you had before. In fact, some scientists actually did a study on this, and they showed that for a distraction that is as short as 1 minute, let's say somebody asking you, hey, do you want a cup of tea? I'll make you one. And you say, yeah, sure. And then you get back to your work. For some people, it can take up to 25 minutes to be able to get back to the level of focus that they had before. So a really, really useful thing is when I start working, I put my phone into airplane mode and I put it into a drawer, because every time I see it, I want to touch it. It's like some sort of weird spell it's got on me. So I put it away and it doesn't bother me, it doesn't make noises. And maybe other people will have emergencies, but there's always other ways that people can reach you. So get rid of your distractions. It might not be the phone, it might be you need to shut yourself in a room so that other people don't distract you. Or it might be that you need to find a quiet time when you can actually do this, like early in the morning or late in the evening. But see how you can remove those distractions and see your level of focus go up, and see how much more you're able to do. So I hope that was helpful, and I've got plenty more of these for you coming along the way. So keep going. Hey guys, today it's Angela and the Office Crayfish. The Office Crayfish and I would like to congratulate you on getting this far. So well done for completing the last module, and we're both really proud of you. Now, today I want to talk about something that I've heard students say a lot. And, it's this idea maybe I'm not cut out for programming. Maybe I just wasn't born with the particular brain that it requires to think in this way. Maybe this is just not for me. And, why is it that so-and-so, they just pick it up like that? Why are they, just born to do it, And what I want to say to that is, nobody is born to have a certain skill, right? Or, there's a lot of things that require a lot of dedication to be able to achieve the result that people get. You just don't see it, that's all. Now, you never see a baby just being born, it's all really muscular, right? That doesn't happen. In order to get muscular, in order to get strong, you gotta go to the gym. You gotta put in the reps. Nobody can help you with that. No matter how rich or how privileged or how smart you are, if you don't go to the gym, you're not gonna get stronger. And it's the same with a lot of other skills. With programming. I would bet that there is no one programmer who you can find who hasn't done the work. You don't just show up on your day one and you're like, wow, I know everything. That doesn't work. And in most cases, people often hide the hard work that's required in order to get to where they are. If you think about the game Pokemon Go, do you remember that from a few years ago? How it just blew up overnight, and literally everybody who was walking around was playing Pokemon Go, I swear. And the newspapers were saying oh, overnight sensation Pokemon Go, and it's the creators stumbled upon some sort of pot of gold. But actually, do you know how many other games that Niantic and the founders of Niantic have built before that? How many have failed and how many were just kind of meh, until they had this big moment? We don't see that, but it doesn't mean it doesn't happen, right? So in order to get good at something, you gotta show up, you gotta put in the hours, and then you'll get the results that you deserve. And in fact, if you suddenly just win the lottery and you get something that you haven't really worked hard for, you don't really cherish it. If somebody gives you a gift and you didn't have to work hard for it, it's not the same as the thing that, you worked a whole summer for, washing dishes. Like, I certainly remember that. Like, that thing that you buy is so different from something that somebody just like gives you. So put in the work, put in the effort, and the results will happen, I promise. And I am here for you, and I'm here cheering you on. I believe in you, and I think you're going to do great. So just keep going. Hey, well done for completing yet another module. These modules are getting longer and longer and more hard and harder and harder. So by getting here, you've really shown what you're made of. Not everybody makes it this far. Now, while you're here, I want to share with you something that I've noticed about how I procrastinate. I'm sure everybody procrastinates, but one of the things that like really struck me is when I used to have to revise or study for med school, one of the things I always did is before I, sat down to actually do the work, I wanted to prepare the scene. I wanted to tidy my desk. I wanted to sharpen my pencils. I wanted to make myself a cup of tea, maybe have like a little snack ready. And what I realized is that I was just basically delaying like the actual work, and it was just another form of procrastination. And once I realized that, it also made me think that, by doing all of these little things, like feeding into your perfectionism or your OCD, or getting yourself a snack beforehand, or just like all of this prep before doing the actual work, it was almost like I was rewarding myself for procrastinating. And, procrastination, there's a lot of studies that have been done on it, and it shows like it's almost like addiction. It works so similarly in the human brain to an addiction, in the sense that the more you feed it, the stronger it gets, the more dependent you become on procrastinating. So one of the best ways is to just not feed it. Imagine it as this sort of monster that you have to really break away from. So ever since I realized that, what I did instead of sort of doing all of these little things beforehand is I just got started. And once I was done, once I did the work that I wanted to do, be it revising for an hour or studying something for an hour, it's at that point that I reward myself, that I get myself a snack, or I find something fun to do for like 5 minutes. And this really helped me like beat procrastination. And one of the ways that you can try is something called the Pomodoro technique. So you set the timer for 25 minutes, you do the tasks that you're meant to do, and then after that time, when the timer rings, you have a 5-minute break. And in that 5 minutes, you can do whatever it is you want, right? Like you can, like go for a walk, go for a snack, look outside the window, go onto like your computer, search for something. And the point is that you're delaying all of these fiddly things or all of these little itty bitty things for that 5 minutes. So while you're working, you're fully focused on working. And while you're having a break, you're fully focused on having a really relaxing break. So have a go of that if you've never tried the Pomodoro technique. It's pretty big for me anyways. And I'm really curious how it works out for you. So either let me know in the Q&As or let me know on Twitter at @YU_Angela how it's going for you and what are some of your tricks as well. I'm curious to know. So keep going in the course and I will be silently cheering for you here.